Hey, y'all, quiet down now. That Robinson boy was accused of taking advantage of Miss Mayella Ewell. She says Tom came up behind her and strangled her while he was in her house. Then he took advantage of her. They didn't call no doctor, though. I don't know why. Do you think he done it? Mr. Finch did say he can't use the left arm, and Mayella was pretty beat on the right side of her. It don't make no sense, fellas.
Well, I think the nigger done it. Poor girl didn't even see it coming.
Their stories don't make no sense. The Robinson boy says Mayella called them up all the time, but Mayella says it was only the one time. It just don't add up.
Well, Heck says Tom done it, so he must have. Miller looked pretty shook up about it.
But what Mr. Finch said. He done it. We all know the nigga done it.
I agree with Doug. He's right. The boy can't be trusted. Why was he at the Ewell place anyway?
He walked by their lot all the time to get work, and from what I hear, Tom was a good Negro. He worked real hard. Did y'all hear about the assault charges? He got into it with some guy and got 30 days from it. That don't look too good, do it? But that wasn't his fault, I don't think. Miss Stephanie Crawford told me he'd done it. But you can't trust nothing she says. She tells anyone anything. Well, I don't care. He still got 30 days. He must have done something wrong. But it was only 30 days. Tom's a good man. Even good men make mistakes. Haven't you ever made a mistake or two, Doug? That don't matter none, Jerry. He's a nigger.
Now, y'all calm down. We ain't here to talk about his past jail time. We're here to talk about the case.
Well, the only reason he stayed in for 30 days was because he couldn't pay off his ticket. But that don't matter none. We're talking about Mayella now. Yeah, and we gotta decide whether or not Tom did it. Now, Mayella said she called him up only the one time to bust up that old chiffrobe. Tom says that it did happen, but that she called him up all the time. Why would either of 'em lie about it? Tom's a liar. I could tell. He kept shifting around all nervous. So was Miss Mayella. I honestly think she was lying about something. Bob kept looking at her funny, and she couldn't look right at him. And I think he'd been drinking. He does drink all the time, but Tom was at the Ewell place. He shouldn't have been. Bob Ewell is always drinking. That man was born with a drink in his hand, and James, you're right, that boy should have just stayed away. It ain't his fault. His wife died and left him with a lot full of kids. I would drink all the time, too. Well, then that means he probably had more than a few when he came home. Could we trust a word he says? Plus, I heard he was a mean drunk. Are you saying you think Bob hurt Mayella? Why in God's name would he do that? Have you ever seen Bob Ewell really drunk? He's a tough drunk, that's for sure. I've seen a lot of them kids running around looking pretty beat up, especially Mayella. So are we saying that it was Bob who done it? I'm not saying for sure if it was Bob or not, but I do know he coulda. You never know with them Ewells. Why would he've done it? It make no sense. That's her pa. He wouldn't hit her. Well, Doug, that's just like saying why would Tom do it? Mayella is a Ewell girl. He could have done it to anybody. Why would he have chosen her? If Tom did do it, and he coulda or couldn't have, why would he choose Mayella? There are a lot of kids on that lot. Why would he be there in the open like that? He wouldn't. He said Mayella done sent the kids off for ice cream or something. So they weren't even there when it happened. He probably saw that the children were gone, and he chose to take advantage of the quiet. But why would Tom say that Mayella kissed him? Their stories don't come together. I don't know who's lying or telling the truth. This is taking longer than I thought. With what Mr. Finch was saying about Tom's arm and everything, how could he have held her down and raped her? He's only got one good arm. Maybe he didn't do it. But then he got asked if he could probably hold her down if he tried, and he said yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Well, maybe he did do it. It is pretty funny that he was out there a lot anyway. Even if Mayella called him up all the time, he shouldn't have gone up there, especially in that house. It is pretty suspicious that he ran. He says he didn't do nothing, but he ran anyway. None of this makes sense. I should have stayed home. Heck would have understood. John, don't matter now. You're here, and we gotta decide if this boy is gonna go to the chair or not. What if we get it wrong? Don't matter. He's a nigger. Stop saying that, Doug. We get it. Everyone knows he's a nigger, and you don't like it, so shut up. We need to decide soon. Everyone is waiting for us. But there is no real evidence, except the fact that Tom's only got one good arm. I mean, the boy couldn't even leave his hand on the Bible. Now, he still could have done it with one arm. How could he? He didn't move his arm not once. It was useless. Try doing anything with one arm, especially holding down a girl. I don't know. He seems pretty strong. Maybe he could have managed it. What do y'all think? Guilty or not? Jerry? Not guilty. Doug, guilty. John, guilty. Bill, not guilty. Marvin, guilty. James, guilty. Greg, guilty. Paul, guilty. Alfred, guilty. Matthew, guilty. Bob, guilty. I think he might have done it too, but we have to decide on one. We can't have guilty or not guilty. So Jerry, Bill, why do y'all think he didn't do it? I don't know, Albert. He seems all right, and his arm don't work. But he still could have done it with one arm. It ain't that hard. That's true, I guess. But what if he didn't do it? Mr. Finch said it wasn't possible, and I like to think I can trust that man. If they find more evidence about this case, then they can go for an appeal. But as of right now, Tom stands guilty. Okay, Albert, guilty. Me too. I vote guilty. Okay, now it's unanimous. Write down your vote and give me the paper. If you don't know how to spell it, just ask me. Thank you, fellas. Let's go.